Bonjour, bonjour, bonjour. I'm speaking with the French guru, the Frenjuru, about how to use AI in your facilitation. This guy was recommended because he's a famous actor. No, he's not, but he is a famous facilitator. Yes, he is. Bonjour, bonjour, Alexandre.
Bonjour, Jessica. So I understand we are going to do this in French, right?
Oui, 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 oui.
Oh,
Oui.
that's that's going to be very limited. Let's switch that to English. Well, if you can endure my terrible French accent. Hmm.
You just made your French accent a little bit worse for that. I think you will be okay. Yeah. We love the French accent because well, I'm in Toronto for summer, and the Quebec French accent is oh la la, très, très, très mal. And your accent is like butter on a croissant to my ears. It's beautiful.
I like to speak to Quebecois. I love them, by the way. By the way, I also. Are you living in Toronto, Jessica?
Just, I was raised here, but I live in
Okay.
Barcelona, but yeah.
Okay. Because I love Toronto too.
Ooh.
I've got lots of friends in this city.
Oh, I don't. Can I have them?
Anyway, no, we are going to bore everyone with our personal
Can
stories,
you
right?
list all your friends and what you like? Yeah, okay.
Let's take 3 hours.
Well, speaking of taking a lot of time to do things that could be done faster, this man is known in the facilitator community for AI for facilitation. So tell me, are you actually an AI kind of nerd and you were a facilitator and then you combined it together to become a guru? Or how do you get into the world of helping us work with bigger groups faster, better?
Okay, so well, it's kind of what you say, but not exactly. So before being known for AI and facilitation, I was known for digital and facilitation. And in fact, I've been exploring, it's been more than a decade that I've been exploring how you can use high technology to help us facilitate better and do things that would be otherwise very complicated to do without technology.
Yeah.
And this is why in 2012, I created my first company that is called Storms. And I created this beautiful software that is also called Storms. And Storms is a digital application that you can use to facilitate any kind of workshops,
Mhm.
but it's especially good to facilitate large group workshops because this is what I do as a facilitator. So I've been doing large group facilitation for years. And the thing is, when you facilitate large groups, if you do a brainstorming, you end up with a lot of ideas. I mean, imagine you have 100 person in a room and you want to facilitate a real divergent step. And you got plenty of ideas, and very quickly we had the issue. So we collected all of that in our digital application, but very quickly we had a problem. How the clusterization, the detecting the themes and the patterns, and we had plenty of duplicates in all these ideas. So it was really a very complex problem and very difficult to solve. So very quickly, I knew that artificial intelligence could be the answer to that.
Mhm.
So I looked at artificial intelligence way before everybody. In 2014, I look at that.
What?
It was not working good enough. 2015, not good enough. 2016, not good enough. 2017, oh, well, good enough, but only if you have 3 hours. And when you're facilitating, you don't have this kind of time, right? You need the answer real time. And until um, GPT-2 arrived,
Okay.
and then it was the revolution. So
Mm.
I was exploring all these possibilities for all these years, and when I saw what GPT-2 was able to do, I knew that, how do you call that? There was a kind of threshold, Before that, it
Yeah.
was not usable. After that, we could do some real stuff in real life. So I created some features. AI. I was one of the first to put some AI features in my software
Mm.
before Miro, before Mural. We
Yeah.
put some AI in it. And I was one of the first to use AI for real in my facilitation agency. So again, I was just one step ahead from the
Mhm.
others. And this is why I created I already had a community of friends and facilitators and consultants, and I created this AI Thinkers Club, which is a community of facilitators who are interested to explore what AI can do for them.
Mhm.
And I'm doing some stuff with them, and this is how I got known about AI and facilitation. That was the long story. Sorry.
That was a long story, but it's good to see that what you're into, because I always talk to this about to non-facilitators, like what you're into, what you like. If you liked AI and you were tinkering in things, so you turned into the expert in AI, what you liked, loved, and what you love to tinker with, and you named your group Tinkerers, right?
Yeah, yeah,
And
because it's hands-on, and it's also, yeah, you need to. The problem with AI right now is that it's moving so fast that you don't know what works and what doesn't, and you need to be able to tinker. And this is what we are doing in this community. We tinker together, we share our learnings, so that we are the ones who are able to use it for the best.
nice. That's so nice. Tinker together, because as facilitators, as me, I do more training than facilitating. I sit alone at home, marketing myself, creating programs, designing speeches. And when I'm with everybody, I'm like alive and I'm in my salsa, as we say in Spanish, right? You're like in your flow. But most of my day is like alone. And if I had a place where I could tinker with people, where I could play, where I could try new things, it would be a lot more fun, this job, actually.
Well, you're welcome, Jessica. You can
Yes.
come and tinker with us.
Well, thank you. I was just,
Especially that it's for facilitators and trainers and solo
yeah,
consultants. It's not only focusing on the facilitation
yeah.
skills in itself. Mm.
Okay, it's a broader thing. Okay,
So I do some training, so same here.
yeah, yeah. And you specialize in big group facilitation. And why is that your specialty, or how'd you get to that? Were you a consultant before, so you know how to manage processes or UX
S-
design, or
So it's another. Sorry, I'm gonna have to tell you another story. In 2012, when I created Storms, at first I created a technology for remote brainstorming in
oh,
small group.
yeah.
And the problem is, in 2012, nobody was interested into that.
Mm,
And everybody was telling me, especially the long-bearded facilitators, telling me, you cannot facilitate a workshop remotely. That's a nonsense. And they were looking at me, like I was the devil.
mm.
And
The French devil with his
and
crazy idea.
so I could not sell my software to do remote facilitation. And at some point, I had one of my clients from an HR director from a big transportation company in France. She told me, well, I'm not interested in the remote brainstorming part, but in 10 days, I have a conference with all my HR managers, and we want to brainstorm ways to attract new talents. Can your software do that? And so my software was designed to do 2 or 3 people remote, and here the use case was 100% in person.
Mhm.
And I said, yes, of course. Then I came back to my team and I told them, you're going to hate me, but in 10 days, we need to be able to do 100% brainstorming in person. And my co-founder was great. And he told me, of course, we're going to do it, Alex. And we've done it. And
Yeah.
this is how I started, because the problem is, you can sell a remote workshop tool just like that. People are going to know how to use it, but you cannot just sell the software for doing 100-person workshops or 200-person workshops. So I had to create the facilitation agency to sell the service on top of that. And
Mm.
this is how, over
Ah,
the years, I think I have facilitated
okay.
hundreds, maybe something like 500 large group workshops. I have facilitated workshops with 1,200 people in the room,
Wow. One guy?
facilitating really. And when I say workshop, I really mean workshops.
Really?
I I don't mean just a quiz or a survey or a little interaction. I mean working on the new strategy of the group with 1,000 people inside the same room during one day.
And how many co-facilitators do you bring, or can you manage that?
So don't do what I do. I'm going to tell you what I advise. If you use a tool like Storms to help you and you master the tool quite well, you can be up to 100%. You can be two,
Hmm.
and then for every slice of 100% more participants, you add one more facilitator in the room.
Okay.
Myself, I can do 300% alone,
Okay.
but because I'm used to it
Yeah, yeah.
and
Hmm.
I have no stress and stuff like that. But it's not only about the technology; it's also how you design the workshop. You design the workshop very differently. Um, I have a technique that I call the 1-3-6-0, where I make people work in circle of discussions. So all of that makes it possible to facilitate really sophisticated workshops,
Yeah.
but with a very limited amount of facilitators in the room. But it's a very different job. It's called facilitation because what we really do is getting the most of the collective intelligence that is inside the room. So it's
Hmm.
the same job, but you deliver it in very different ways. You use slightly different techniques. The facilitation and animation skills are a little bit different. You
Yeah.
also need, I mean, you need to be on stage in front of hundreds of people. So
Hmm.
how do you, one way to see the difference between a young facilitator and a more experienced one is how you get silence, for example.
Yes, that's so fun. What's your favorite technique to get
Yeah.
to shut up?
Everything is in the glance.
The teacher.
It's not a technique. I have techniques. So you have some funny techniques, such as you explain to them that as soon as they see that I raise the hand, they also have to raise the hand, and when they see someone else, so you have this raising hand effect,
Yeah.
domino effect all over the room.
Yeah.
But the one thing that you must not do is raise the voice. If you
Okay.
raise the voice, they're going to win because they're going to raise the voice. And if you have hundreds of people raising their voice, they're going to beat you even if you have a mic. So on the contrary, you have to do the contrary. You have to lower your voice.
Ah, ah,
And again, you don't have to ask them to listen to you, but if you lower your voice,
yeah.
they, they will naturally tend to listen to you. So
Yeah.
that's the
That's good.
trick.
That's
And
very
then
good.
I ask for eye contact because when they are looking at me, they're not speaking to their neighbors. So I
Mm.
do come eye contact, eye contact, eye contact. Thank
Mm.
you.
Mm. Do you actually say that? Eye contact, or
Yeah,
you?
because it's fun. I like to inject a little bit of fun when I
Yeah,
facilitate.
yeah,
I
yeah.
know you do this kind of stuff too, Jessica. I can feel that it
I
is in
know.
you to inject fun.
Inject fun. I'm like, I want to do what you do because I went to Nigeria. You're going to appreciate this. I went to Nigeria to their conference, and West Africans. There was 18 different countries there. West Africans are the funnest, loudest
Oh
people that
yeah.
I've ever met in my travels. And I went there to learn from them how to speak with passion, and I definitely learned that. But they speak with so much passion all the time while you're speaking that it was the most difficult 300 audience I've ever experienced. And we just used music to quiet them down, which is a really interesting thing because you get them to dance for like 15, 20 seconds. And then if you get the attention back, they're looking at you again. So it's like you are, as a facilitator with such big groups, you are an entertainer because you need to grab their attention and you must have more than campfire, kumbaya, long bearded energy. It's like
Yeah.
we have to realize we're competing with phones, interesting people, coffee breaks. So
Yeah, you're right that this is what I say often. And again, the long-bearded facilitators are going to hate me when I say that.
we don't want
Is that when you do large group facilitation, the way I do it, the show part is as important as the content part.
yeah,
I
yeah.
what you must be careful that it's not more important. I've seen a lot of that in with event agencies, for example,
With
where
what?
form event agencies
Oh,
when
okay.
they are in charge of organizing the events and the content, they
Yeah,
tend to focus on form.
yeah,
Us coming from the facilitator world, we tend to focus on content, which is good. But when you do the kind of event that I do, you need to do both.
Yeah.
And you need to be at your top game on both sides, which is also why I like to do large groups.
I mean,
But I'm going to give you a secret now. One of the reason why I stick to large group, guess what is the reason?
because you're very extroverted. You come alive from all the energy of the people being. I love you, Alexandra.
That could be it. But no, the reason why is that it's a much better effective business model for a facilitation agency,
Yes. Yes.
because it's much easier to sell a workshop for 300% a good, big, decent amount of money than
Yeah.
a workshop for 7 people. Even if the workshop for 7 people are 7 very important CEOs, etc., and on a very important topic, they don't want to pay a huge amount of
Yeah.
money for
Yeah.
such a small workshop.
Yeah.
If you have 300% in the room, the budget of the conference is already huge, and you
Yeah.
can sell your workshop for a lot of money.
Yeah.
So with this business model, you can sell one workshop per month, and you're good,
Yeah. Sweet.
more than good.
Yeah.
And by the way, this is something I'm gonna. Oh, this is a revelation. I'm gonna create a new training
Yeah.
very soon
Coming, brother.
uh,
I want to learn.
on how to develop exactly the same kind of business model. Because I haven't told all the secrets today.
Of course
Yes,
not.
still has.
We want more secrets. Yes. So this is
So
huge.
we were supposed to talk about AI. We did not talk about AI, by the way.
Well, because I don't care so much about AI, and these interviews are selfishly done because I want to talk to people so that I can learn more about the things that I love. And I love the group facilitation but you can't do those big group facilitations without AI. So tell me a little bit more about how this is a huge part of it and what facilitators need to learn from Storms or from you, or what do we have to shift to be acceptable to the market?
So, well, as I said, I've been exploring the combination of technology with facilitation for a long time, only because technology enables me to do stuff that I couldn't do without it, or it would be much more difficult, or it will be longer.
Mm-hmm.
So, and AI is exactly the same. Thanks to AI, now I can cluster hundreds of ideas in no time. And this way I can I can instantly get the big topics from the room and start a discussion on these big topics.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I, just because, again, the long-bearded facilitators are going to not like that. They're going to say, when you cluster, it must be done by the participants, because this way they get to understand the material and the ideas, and get a better sense on what are in the ideas. And this is absolutely true. So AI clusterization is a different thing. It's a way to get the the different topics and the main ideas very quickly, and it doesn't replace the need for debrief and a discussion with the
Mm-hmm.
participants after that. So I'm just saying that because you have to be very nuanced when you talk about AI, otherwise you get fired at, ah, no, I'm trying to use technology in a responsible way, which is finding the right balance between using it and how you're using it and what you're doing after with what you get from the technology. So clusterization is one example during the workshop. After the workshop, it's really helpful in helping you doing the report for the client. Uh, Before the workshop, for example, very quickly, when I do my design, I'm using a visual tool, a kind of diagram, to do my macro design. And I use AI to transform my macro design into a one-pager that is very easy to read for my client.
Okay.
Before, I was doing that by hand,
Yeah.
and it was taking me maybe 30 minutes. Now it's taking me 5 minutes.
Hmm.
Um, the only thing you have to be very careful, and here, oh, I created, did you know that I created a card deck to teach
Uh,
Gen AI?
no, the black box.
And so it's called the GenAI card deck, and one of the card is the best practices, and this is the sandwich best
Feedback.
practice. So when you use AI, you always have to start with human, and you always have to end with human. So if it's the only thing you need to understand when using AI is the better, the higher quality in, you have to put the best high quality input that you can inside the LLM.
Mm-hmm.
And after, you never need, you always need not to trust the output, and to consider spending some time to edit it, make it your own, control it, and do stuff like that. As
Mm-hmm.
soon as you respect the sandwich principle, you are in everything you do with AI, you are safe in using AI for whatever you want.
Love it. Start and end. So humans are the bread. We are the croissant of making
Yeah,
it.
but French bread, which
Oh,
makes all the difference.
oh yes, not crappy bread. Yeah. The best quality human on top, in the middle, and then in the middle you can. Yeah. I love it. I'm not going to forget that. So you were never a long bearded facilitator. You were always on the leading edge of trying to figure out how to do it better, faster, and that obviously got you a reputation as that guy who does it. And so I think it's cool that when you do what you love, when you do what comes naturally to you, what you are and what interests you, you can develop a thriving career in that. And many people
Yeah, but
follow
it
that
it
problem.
it was also hard at the beginning, when you have to fight everybody.
Yeah.
In 2012, I mean, no, I had really hard, people fighting back the idea of remote workshops. Uh, I had a hard time convincing them, and COVID did that in 2 months. After 2 weeks of COVID, I was seeing posts on LinkedIn about, "Hey, look, I've done a remote workshops. It worked great."
You're like,
And I know that. I've been saying that for 5 years. I don't know, 2012, 28 years.
"Huh." Well, the thought leaders, you guys always have to fight, and the rest of us later go, yeah, oh yeah. The late, slow, lazy adopters who didn't believe in you in the beginning, we're just like, oh yeah, of course, why wouldn't we? But unfortunately, you guys are the trailblazers, and well, thank you from all of us long bearded facilitators. I'm not one of
Yeah,
them, but
I don't see your long beard.
it's morning for you. It's morning over here in Canada. No, I
Hmm.
think if you have a new idea, you have to fight people for it. And the bearded facilitators, which everyone who's listening is a facilitator, but it's like, if you are listening, if we don't compete and if we don't adapt and we don't use what people are used to using, we become outdated. And we can't afford to do that because we have to be relevant and create rapport with them. And they have to believe that we're credible and up to date. And if we stick with the campfire stuff and the post-it notes, which you have a lot of post-it notes behind you,
I love post-it notes.
you still love post-it notes. Okay.
Yeah, well, my facilitation agency is called ILO. Why? Because I love to combine high tech and low tech. I also, as I said, I created a card deck with physical cards because, again, but when I'm using them, I'm combining the cards with post-it notes, with Sharpies, but also with storms, on a mobile phone, and also with AI to cluster all the ideas. I'm just using the tool that I have at my disposal,
Yeah.
that makes sense, with the things that I need to do. That's all. And
Make
sometimes I don't use technology at all.
okay. Sometimes he doesn't even use technology.
Sometimes just a good discussion is enough. So,
This guy's unpredictable. You're unpredictable. Ok, monsieur. Merci beaucoup.
ben, merci à toi de m'avoir invité.
Mais
Thanks for inviting me.
je parle français si
Hmm?
tout training est en français. Je peux venir.
Ah, très
Demain.
bien.
Oui, oui,
My
merci.
training most of my training and workshops are in English, but
Ah,
yeah.
merci a Dios. Gracias a Dios. I don't know
À
how
bientôt.
God.
À bientôt.
A bientôt.
Hmm.
Thank you.
Bye
Bye.
bye. Ciao, ciao.